Oh, I have to fix something. Hold on. All right. Sorry. All right. All right. We are live. We are ready. Welcome to the show, people. Welcome to the NXT Stand and Deliver post show. I am Drew, and joining me, as he usually does on these NXT shows, is Jeff Lippman.
That's right. The only one I haven't joined you on was the one that you didn't have because you went to the show.
I went to the show?
I think so.
I don't think I...
Whatever it was, it's because you weren't available.
Oh, because I went to a birthday party that just happened to be on the same day, and I couldn't go. So, but
Right.
yeah, that was then. This is now. We're not talking about that. But yeah, people, it's WrestleMania.
I didn't know it was a bad memory.
Yeah, for different reasons, not pertaining to our show, but yeah, people, it's WrestleMania weekend, and as per WrestleMania weekend, it used to be Takeover. Now it's called Stand and Deliver. And as you know, me and Jeff Lippman usually cover these shows, so we are going to get things started with NXT Stand and Deliver Vegas Edition. I call it Vegas Edition. Yeet. All right, so I have the match card up. It took place in Paradise, Nevada, which is basically Las Vegas, in the T-Mobile Arena. You notice how they weren't filming on like one side of the arena, right?
No, I didn't really notice, but now that you mention it, yeah, sure.
I mean, it didn't really mean anything to me, but anyways, I mean, the crowd was good. I mean, the crowds for these NXT shows are usually very good. So, but let's get things started. There were 7 matches, one of which was a pre-show match. An awful lot of matches for an NXT show, but it's Stand and Deliver, so it makes sense. The pre-show match was a fatal 4-way tag team elimination match to determine the number 1 contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Yeah, Gigi Dolan, Tatum Paxley with Shotzi versus Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Fatal Influence, which was Fallon Henley and Jacy Jayne with Jasmine Nix. And Metaphor, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson.
Meta 2.
I'm sorry?
They're only Meta 2 at this point.
It's still funny they call him Metaphor when Noam Dar is still out and the other guy is doing stuff, I think, for TNA.
Yeah, no, he might be, but he's also in Evolve or Mensa, and they say representing Metaphor, so I don't know. I guess they're still... Anyway, this is probably the least important point of the entire pay-per-view, or PLE, sorry.
Right. I mean, it was still kind of a fun match. I mean, the big story coming out of it was Roxanne leaving Cora up high and dry during the match. Me and Justin picked Metaphor on Wednesday because it just kind of seemed like a sure thing. They're the first team to get eliminated, so I didn't see that coming. And then, of course, like I mentioned, Roxanne left Cora high and dry, so it just came down to Gigi and Tatum and Fatal Influence. Tatum and Gigi pick up the win, which I was happy about because I like Tatum and Gigi, especially like Tatum. She's someone that I just kind of wish they kind of gave her more to do, as far as like maybe be thought of as someone higher on the card. Not like higher as in main event status, more just like she can easily be a North American champion, in my opinion. She's very talented, very likable. The fans seem to like her a lot. But they got the win, and they're going to, on Tuesday, they're going to wrestle the winner of the Women's Tag Team Championship. I think that's today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. But, on Tuesday, they're going to wrestle the winner of the match that's going to happen either today or tomorrow. I'm not sure which day. But, and then there was a moment backstage where Tatum was like, what happens if I have to wrestle my sweet dove? And then Gigi reminds her, it's like, well, if that happens, you're still going to have to wrestle her. But what'd you think about the match?
I love the match. I thought this match was terrific. The ladies worked terrific together. I knew Metaphor wasn't going to win because they've had so many chances up to this point. I thought it was going to be Cora and Roxanne, so because I thought that they wanted to move them both up to the main roster, and why not as a tag team? But instead, they pulled that swerve, and I guess they're going to have them, best friends, better enemies, kind of thing. This is like the third time they've broken up. But I'm really happy with the results. I mean, I too like Gigi Dolan and especially Tatum Paxley. Shotzi, I think they're a fun little act, all of them together with the different color hair. It's like sort of like, anime Charlie's Angels kind of thing going on. I knew it was going to be Fatal Influence, even though I would like it because, the whole thing is like Fallon not being happy with them being in sort of competition with each other for title shots. But I thought this match was terrific. What a great start.
Agreed. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would because I'm like, oh, this could have been a match you probably could have featured on a regular episode of NXT. But, I liked it. It was a surprisingly very good match. Now we move on to the main show. You have the NXT Men's North American Championship match. You have Ricky Saints versus All Ego Ethan Page. I thought this was a good opener. You have two guys who know how to work. Saints is just, again, he just looks like he's just really happy to be somewhere that knows how to use him correctly. Of course, you had the Tony fumbled chants. You also had "Thank you, Tony." I think that's what they were chanting. Ethan Page, Justin mentioned on the show, and I agree with him. I think Ethan Page, after this, is going to be called up to the main roster. It's like, what else do you do with him after this? So, but very kind of cut and dry match. Not to say it was a bad match. It was actually a very good match. It was simple. You had two guys that knew how to work. They didn't do anything that was offensive, if that's the best way to put it. But Ricky got the win after Rochambeau. So what'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was a very good match, clean win. Little concerned about Ethan Page, and then what's going to happen with him. I mean, he seems to, he's sort of the quintessential heel in that he sometimes sneaks his way into titles. He always sneaks his way into the title picture, but he loses most of the big matches, or when he wins, it's by chicanery. But I guess they're investing in Ricky Saints as the bigger star. Okay, that's fine. But I thought the match was good. I don't think it was I don't think it's anything that's going to be memorable, but it's not going to be memorable for anything bad either. I think very solid, very entertaining. And the new guy won, and that's what people want. They want Ricky Saints to sort of get a spotlight and a highlight and be treated like a star, because people seem to think he isn't a star or is a star and was not treated like a star. And I don't think that anyone really thinks of Ethan Page as a star. I think people think of Ethan Page as like a version of The Miz, that you can sort of bring him up and down the card and do whatever you like with him, and then he'll always do his job and be fine. Sort of a consummate professional, and I guess that's right too. So, him going to the main roster is fine. I think they need more people on the main roster who can take L's without it being particularly meaningful, and mostly so other people can get wins that are more meaningful. Because you have like someone like a Drew McIntyre who took like 4 or 5 L's in a row, and then you're like, well, what the hell are we going to do with them? And luckily enough, Drew probably came up with this thing himself on how Damian Priest has been behind all of his failures for the last year, and so good, that worked out. But in the meantime, he took all those losses for no reason, why not have like Javier Bernal and Ethan Page and folks like that there to take L's for a McIntyre or a Damian Priest. Anyway, match was very good. Listen, I have to tell you, I'm going to be a broken record this entire show, because I thought every match was good. I love this show. I'm already grading. I'm giving it an 11 out of 10, and that extra point is because the women are hot.
Right.
So, solid A+. I love this show.
I loved it too. I thought it delivered. Punching pun intended. It was a fantastic show. I'm going to give it an A plus. It's right up
Under
there.
3 hours
Oh yeah.
in the afternoon.
Oh yeah. That and Elimination Chamber, I think, are the two best pay-per-views of the year so far.
Okay.
But yeah. So next is you have for the NXT Tag Team Championships, you have Hank and Tank versus Fraxium. Did not see this coming. Did not see Hank and Tank winning. This is actually a very good match. You know, it's Fraxium, so Fraxium always has great matches. They always bring out the best in their opponents, which is why I adore them, and I'm kind of worried that they're going to split up, which I hope they don't. I mean, just put them on the main roster, make some money with them. The main roster, Lord knows they need more tag teams, which they do. But this is a very good match. This is the best Hank and Tank match that I've probably ever seen. They probably ever had, and did not see Fraxium winning.
Losing.
Oh, I'm sorry, losing. I'm sorry, losing. I was kind of assuming that they were going to win and keep their streak going, but then when they won, I just kind of thought like, okay, if they weren't going to lose now, then who were they going to lose to? Were they going to wait for Lucha Bros to get together and maybe take the titles off of them? I don't know, but like, I guess this is fine. With Hank and Tank winning, you want that feel good moment for them. They're kind of, for a while they're kind of lovable losers, and then they got into this match and they won. So again, fun match, can't complain. The crowd seemed to be very much into it. But what'd you think?
Not a Hank and Tank fan. I think that they're like a cheap version of Heavy Machinery. But this was, as you said, the best match they've ever had. Far. And if credit goes to Fraxium, all credit to them. This is the best Hank and Tank have looked. Hank has noticeably slimmed down and got himself into better shape. Hank, I think, was already sort of there, but Hank was sort of lagging behind. The finisher looked great, that combination of moves. I didn't see this coming either. I thought that they more in the tank for Fraxium. But, if Fraxium has been elevated to the main roster, I think Raw could use, a high energy team, for the first hour, sort of like how WCW used to do the cruiserweights,
right.
Hour one to, because Raw is so goddamn long. It makes sense from SmackDown too, because you can imagine them with the Motor City Machine Gun, sort of like the young version of the same team and the old version of that team. But there's already like 6 or 7 tag teams on SmackDown. It feels like there's like 3 on Raw, even though you can make tag teams anytime you like. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Whoever wrestles against Fraxium, they look great, and everyone knows them as sizes. But Fraxium works as a unit. They have this strange chemistry where you always think they're just on the verge of, betraying each other. Even when they were congratulating Hank and Tank, it was like one of them kicked the hand away for a handshake, and you're like, oh boy, he's going heel. It's like, nope, bring it in for a hug. So, I don't know. Just everything that Sean and crew did tonight worked.
Exactly. I mean, and then running on like an hour of sleep, like an hour or 2 of sleep after that Hall of Fame.
The thing about Hank and Tank is that they're eminently beatable because they just came off this losing streak. So, any tag team challenge they have, you believe that they could lose, whether it's to Dark State or OTM or Tyreek and oh God, I can't remember the other fellow's name, or the Briggs and the guy from Noah.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like I never really felt Fraxium was at much risk of losing the belts to any of their challengers, but I think Hank and Tank are a different story. So that adds a bit of suspense to NXT going forward. But yeah. Very happy with this match as well. I mean, I'm gonna be really boring and like uncharacteristically positive.
Yeah. So do I need to be the one that hates everything?
If you want.
I don't know. I can't because I did love this show. So this is gonna be a short show. It's just gonna be us agreeing and saying everything's great. So, which is awesome. Hopefully a hurricane doesn't happen in San Antonio. Uh, um, no, like legit. The last time we agreed on something, it was a blizzard in San Antonio for 5 days. Like, jeez. But yeah, next is you had the ladder match for the vacant NXT Women's North American Championship. You had Sol Ruka, Izzy Dame, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, Thea Hale, and Zarya. One thing is just Thea Hale's new theme music. I don't like the "I'm a grown ass woman" bit. I just think you can probably take that out. I think it's kind of cheesy, but again, I was happy to see Thea back. All the women delivered in this match. Izzy, I thought, I don't know. Oh, Chris Matthews is in the YouTube chat. What's up, Chris? Appreciate it. Izzy, I thought maybe could have done more. I don't know if that was just me, but that's kind of my small little nitpick of this whole match.
I thought she was the MVP. I thought she held the whole thing together.
I don't know. Like, I just something was kind of missing with her. Thea was like bumping for everything. Like there was even times where she was bumping, and it didn't even look like she got hurt. Like there was a spot where like she dropped somebody on a ladder, and she clearly didn't even touch the ladder, and she's sounding like she got hurt. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So again, I love Thea. I'm glad she's back.
Many 5-hour energies.
I'm sorry.
Too many 5-hour energies.
Yeah, probably. Thea was kind of was my first choice. Lola might have been a close second. I believe Justin chose Sol, which I'm glad Sol won. I do like Sol. She's very talented. She's very over. There's a nice little finish at the end of the match where she does her finish twice to, I believe, Thea and Izzy, and
out of nowhere. She's totally challenging Randy Orton. It's gonna be the soul snatcher out of nowhere versus the RKO out of nowhere.
Exactly. And there was a spot with her and Zarya where her and Zarya were like, hey, it's everyone for themselves. So begrudgingly they start hitting.
First it looked like they were gonna kiss.
I mean, would you have given that a 12 out of 10?
I mean, I'm not sure I got a scale high enough.
Right. But yeah, they start hitting each other and they realize, hey, it's everyone for themselves. You got to win that belt. And then yeah, it happened. Sol's now the new NXT North American champion. Didn't have her on my list, but glad she won. I do like her. She's very talented. I do worry whenever she does her finisher because I just worry she's going to land on her neck the wrong way. But again, it's just me worrying. But she's very likable, and I gotta say, who's the dude from New Catch Republic? Not Pete Dunne, the other guy.
Charlie Dempsey?
No, big strong.
Or Miles Bourne or Tavion Heights?
Big strong boy, that guy.
Oh, Tyler Bate. Ugh.
He's a lucky motherfucker. He's a lucky motherfucker. That's all I gotta say. But
that's true. I call him Tyrion Lannister.
Nice.
If Tyrion Lannister and Kevin Sullivan had a child, they'd come out with Tyler Bate.
He's like a more believable, tougher version of Adam Cole. That's the best way I'll put it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Tyler Bates' legs are tremendous. I mean, he's definitely got that deadlift, squatter, power lifter build.
No, I've always liked. I never had a problem with Tyler Bate, but I respect his game. I'll just keep it at that. But
yeah, no, I mean, listen, NXT is a peachtree of Love Island-ish. I mean, the spin-off series on Bravo they could have just from that, or A&E, whatever, would be fantabulous.
I don't know, Shawn Michaels. Who would have thought Shawn Michaels would be the guy? It's like Shawn Michaels would be the guy. Song? Yeah, what up, Shawn? I don't know.
I know. You remember that song? The song "In and Out of Love." That could be the song to the NXT After Dark. In and Out of Love.
I like how you think. I don't know.
No, Izzy Dane is Braun Breaker's girlfriend now.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. She is. And it's just. Can you imagine? Like, you get hired to WWE. Your first thing is, I want to go to NXT. Are you sure? No, NXT. Just send me to NXT, please.
Single, yes. If you're married, absolutely not. Send me anywhere but NXT. Send me to TNA, send me to AAA, send me to Noah. It's just That place is a pit of like a fraternity boy's dream.
Shit, you're gonna have to pray to Jesus that he, or whatever God you pray to, that you can resist temptation.
Yeah, seriously, that place is filled with snakes and apples.
It's like Stephanie Vakor, Lola Weiss, uh, Tatum Paxley, Sol Ruka. Jesus Christ.
You have to try to name the ones who are not like ridiculously hot. I mean, and I'm not sure that you could. And I know this is all subjective, but I don't think that you could find one. I mean, you'd have to go down to LFG and like Bailey Humphrey.
I mean, man, maybe JC Jane. I mean, JC Jane's still attractive. She's not like overly hot like a Stephanie Vakor, but she's still attractive.
She's got a kicking body also, but JC Jane literally looks like half the girls that I grew up with in my neighborhood. I mean, not with that kind of kicking body, but yeah,
She's,
I mean,
she seems like a guy's girl. That's the best way to put it.
I don't know her that well, but I mean, yeah, I mean, just Jasmine Nix, Fallon, just whatever. The Kalani Jordan, Miss Jackson, my good God, I mean,
Jada Parker.
Yeah, like Brinley Reese is the weak link.
I don't know. Okay, we need to stay on track because we're going to be here all day talking about how hot the fucking
Before
NXT.
you just said it's going to be a quick show, now you're saying we're going to be here all day. I mean, you want to make this a long show or a short show? You tell me. It's the Drew Yari experience. How much of an experience should we give him?
I mean, if we're gonna sit here and simp over the entire NXT women's division,
What's the difference?
I mean,
That's a show.
hey, I'm fine with it. So, Stephanie Vakor is hot. Is she not? Never mind.
You sure is?
She,
Oh, Jordan Gray. She's not hot.
no,
Zaria not hot.
they're not hot, but they seem like they have good personalities.
I'm talking just hot. I am not judging them as human beings, personalities, intelligence. Just sheer hotness. Still, NXT is just a ridiculous island of it's like one of those things like where you go to like a superhero thing. You go to like Paradise Island where Wonder Woman is. It's like NXT is like that.
I don't know. Joe Punch is saying I volunteer as Tribune to find out.
Good. That's good. Absolutely.
You're a good man, Punch.
Our high priest will go to make a sacrifice and be our envoy and embassy to NXT. I think that's a great idea. You can go for Soup, the Drew Yari experience, and the newest what do you call it? Where podcasts rest anyway. Wrestling Soup and Friends. Because folks, don't forget to subscribe also to Wrestling Soup and Friends, so you get the SmackDown review show and the Evolve review show. Because White Chocolate is oh yeah.
I told Justin who White Chocolate. I mentioned White Chocolate Justin. Of course, Justin. You mean Jason Williams? He just said it like jokingly. I'm like, no, not the basketball player Jason Williams. White Chocolate. This is White Chocolate on Wrestling Soup. But
Senora Dos goes, "Who's White Chocolate?" I go, "I don't know." She goes, "What's his name?" I go, "I don't know." She's like, "Where's he live?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I remember I told you.
I don't know any of these things. But Miss just told me to do a show with him.
I don't know. I remember I told you who Yuck Nasty was, and your response was, "Okay, Mr. Nasty."
Well, listen, I think after 5 years he's finally followed me somewhere. But when you told me to send him a message, I did, and to this day still hasn't responded. But but it's okay because I'm not in the market for music any longer. But actually, I do know where White Chocolate lives now. He's in Iowa.
Nice. Anyways, let's continue with the rest of the show. So after this, I mean, we'll have more time to talk about how hot the women's division is, but we got to move on. 6-man tag match. You had Dark State versus the D'Angelo family of Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo and Luca Crucifino, with Adriana Rizzo and her gabagool, as Justin usually says. Yeah, this is, I mean, again, fun match. Nothing bad about this match, to be honest. The big selling point of this match was, you know, are Stacks and Tony on the same team? Are they on the same page? And during the match, there's a spot with the crowbar where Tony tells him, "Hey, we're not doing that." And then Stacks gets it anyway and takes out somebody that's trying to hit Tony, or trying to like choke him out. And Tony's like, "Hey, I like how you think." And there's a shot where it looks like Stacks is gonna hit Tony with the crowbar, and Tony's kind of like looking on his side eye. And then Stacks gives the referee the crowbar, and instead he kicks Tony right in the balls. And
the Jolly Rogers.
The Jolly Rogers, there you go. And Dark State pins Tony. So now Channing has turned his back on the family. And as he was leaving, I think it was Sarah Schreiber that was trying to get a response from him, like, "Hey, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" And Luca tries to get a word out of him, and Channing says, "Listen, I'll let you know on Tuesday. Just pretty much keep it close to the chest." So yeah, but what'd you think about everything, the match and the turn?
A match. I sort of figured that a few weeks ago I said that the person to be in charge of Dark State, the only one that really makes sense, is Stacks. Now, it doesn't look like he's been in charge of them the whole time based on what we've seen, but but it may end up that way. Who knows? But yeah, the only thing is I never really understood that you have a mafia crime family that believes in sportsmanship. So the whole thing with Don Tony not wanting, Tony D'Angelo, Don Tony's a different person.
Yeah.
Tony D'Angelo, not wanting to cut corners and not cheat, and we don't use crowbars here. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I understand that in NXT everyone's got to be face and heel and see if they can make it work, and people cheer for him, but they would cheer for him as a heel too. And anyway, that's a little bit nitpicking. No, I thought it was good. I thought the little drama was good. Dark State looked okay, but they are all rookies, and we don't really know what their purpose or their mission is. We still don't know what their purpose or their mission is. So hopefully they'll make some sort of sense of that going forward. And maybe it was a stacked setup. Yes, we do know in wrestling for the last 40 years that we've learned that in wrestling stories, you are willing to get beat up a whole lot of times really badly to set up a double cross. So maybe that's what's happening here. But it's all good, and Luca is going to have to make a choice.
He certainly is. Kind of looks like. Do you think Tony's going to do the job for not Luca, but for Channing, and then go to the main roster?
I think if he's asked to do so, he will. And I think that Tony D'Angelo has been a player coach for a while. I think actually most of the faction leaders in NXT have sort of been given raises as player coaches for a bit. Yeah. I think there's a pretty good chance that he would do that. They'll protect him. It'll be through some sort of chicanery, or 72 guys from Dark State, beat him up while the referee is knocked out. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you look at like that class that came in 2021 when it became 2.0. Obviously the big standouts were Braun, and later on it was Tiffany. Tony is kind of the one that's still hanging around since then. I guess JC, if you want to throw her in there, because that's when Toxic Attraction came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I get Roxanne also, but Roxanne's kind of been in and out, so she's going to be heading up pretty soon.
I'd put Trick Williams in that conversation as well.
Right, Trick Williams, and Carmelo, of course. But yeah, I Justin called it. I kind of figured it was going to happen based off of the story that was happening. But yeah, it kind of looks like everyone's kind of doing jobs heading out. Roxanne's more than likely going to do a job for Cora. In this case, Tony's going to do the job for Channing, and then for the main event scene, it looks like Trick is probably going to do jobs or I guess a job for Javon, and then head to the main roster. So it kind of seems like that's the way it's going to go. And also, Ethan Page is going to be heading out pretty soon. All right.
Be.
I'm sorry?
Could be. Justin, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, Justin knows an awful lot. Well, I mean, he does. He knows pretty much every. He knows more than me. I'm not afraid to admit that. Next is you have a fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship: Stephanie McCool, Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordynne Grace. Now we're back to talking about the hot women in NXT. Yeah, Julia's just. I mean, not Julia. Stephanie's a star. She's lightning in a bottle. She's like. I mean, she's learning. I mean, she's learning the English language a little bit. She admitted that she's taking English classes. Her and Julia. Her promos aren't bad. It's kind of like Jeff Hardy, where it's like he doesn't necessarily need to cut a great promo. He just needs to have that aura about him. Whereas, Stephanie just needs to have that aura about her. And she's over just standing in the middle of the ring and just looking the way she does with her devil horns. So she's gonna do fine whenever she does go on the main roster. I mean, when she came out in the Rumble, she got a pretty big reaction. As opposed to Julia, who I think is still trying to kind of find herself a little bit.
Yeah.
Jada, I said time and time again, she just has natural swag that just can't be taught. Of all the homegrown NXT talent I put on Twitter, she just has that swagger that can't be taught, and she just looks like she belongs in the ring with all three of these women. Jordan has her Jordan kind of is established. Stephanie's established. Julia's established. Jada looks like she belongs in the ring with all these three. So I can almost guarantee she's going to win a title before the end of the year, whether it's the North American title or the women's title. More than likely the North American, because I think that's going to stay on Stephanie. Probably before the end of the year, Stephanie or Julia, one of those two. But this match was good. This is a very good match to watch. All four women, obviously know how to work. Nobody really seemed out of place. If there was a botch, I missed it more than likely. I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. There was that funny spot where Stephanie does her leg thing, which I don't know what it's called. I forgot what it's called. She said there was a name to it. I just forget what it's called. And of course, Booker T just being Booker T about it and going, "Oh yeah!" And
everybody was going, "Oh yeah!" I mean, come on. And when she was doing to Jada Parker, I mean that's like a double layer wedding cake.
Exactly. No, but no, there's the funny spot where Booker's just saying it, and the fans start chanting "Booker T, Booker T."
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
What's not to love? This match was great. I mean, all of the multi-person matches, like everybody was in the right spot. The timing was good. I didn't see any significant botches. There were some times where the camera angle wasn't good, and you saw that they missed each other, but they're supposed to actually miss each other. They're not actually supposed to hit each other that hard. But I thought that. This was a lot of fun. I thought they worked great together. Yeah, Jada is a natural. I mean, it was within the last year that she was basically the spokesperson for OTM, and she's like lapped them twice. And and I'm a sizist. I like their size. I'm pulling for them. I know one of them is injured. But what's to say? All of the women's matches were great. The men's matches were good, but the women's matches were great.
In the chat, we got Rams fan 086 Sean. He's saying, first time tuning into the Drew Yari show, and I'm still unsure what a Drew Yari is. I'm still not even sure.
Co-host, and I have no idea what the fuck a Drew Yari is.
I don't know. The worst podcaster ever. The
worst podcaster in history, right? And imagine how bad you have to be a part-time co-host of the worst podcaster. Yeah. You gotta be below worst. I'm sub-worst.
As stated by the great Kevin Castle. We miss you, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
He would have got a kick out of this show for all the right reasons.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he would have. Yes, he would have.
Oh, man, we miss you so much, Kev. It sucks not having you for WrestleMania weekend, but oh man. And then I see Joe Punches in the chat. What's up, guys? But Yeah, like I mean, to kind of piggyback off of what you said, like someone pointed out this is the first takeover where there were more women's matches than men matches. There was the tag match, there was the ladder match, and there was the women's championship match. Well, actually, I don't. I think they were kind of even number matches, but
Yeah, I think it was the same. I think it was 3-3.
right. All right, so
Don't forget that Lexus King lost his Heritage Cup to a Penn and Teller Magic Trick.
yeah, that was that was. I mean, that was kind of funny. That was more just like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. They're in Vegas. You know, it makes sense. And you want to fuck with Lexus
It
King,
was funny.
who was the king of sleaze, the sleazy king or whatever.
Right.
Joe,
It was funny. It was a good little bit, and it's funny. And stupid Lexus King can't find his cup. He lost his cup. Because and then what's his name? Penn, was he the one that doesn't talk?
yeah,
He yeeted him of all things.
and of course that angered Dave Meltzer for some reason.
Who's Dave Meltzer?
I don't know, some guy who likes Japanese wrestling and thinks it's amazing.
Why are we talking about Dave Meltzer? He's wrong and lies about everything.
Joe Punches in the chat says that
By
was
the way, I want to put this out here to the millions of listeners of the Drew Yari Experience that Dave Meltzer constantly says that he's a business journalism lecturer at Stanford University, a co-guest lecturer once in 2003. Where my source? Stanford EDU. I actually looked it up. And BJ Bethel, the guy who claims himself to be this great journalist, I decided to look it up. He did a bunch of local news spots, nothing more recent than 3 to 5 years ago, and it seems like anything he did for like the Washington Post or any of those bylines is when he did movie reviews for Siskel and Ebert years ago. He has nothing to indicate that he's an investigative reporter that I've been able to find. So all these sourced people in they're more kayfabe than the wrestlers themselves. They're so full of shit.
Joe Punches in the chat says that wasn't Penn, that was Mish.
Oh, I to be honest with you, I thought it was Joseph Park at first.
Ah, there you go.
Like Abyss?
Abyss. Dun, dun, dun,
Like Abyss got old.
Dun, dun, dun. He's still an agent for WWE, right?
Yeah, that's why it wasn't ridiculous. I haven't seen Penn or tell whichever one is Gray before.
I just remember that bit he did with AJ when they were still doing the empty arena shows, or it was the empty performance center shows, but they were letting people in before Thunderdome, and there was like a bit where he brings out like a giant whiteboard with what's his name, Abyss, Chris Parks or whatever, and he writes on the whiteboard and he uses magic marker. Or no, he uses a permanent marker, and I just like AJ's response: "Permanent marker." I thought that was funny. I don't know why I did. I'm stupid.
It was funny. It was because you can't wipe it off. It was funny, and listen, entertainment was few and far between back then. What I really want to see is if Cher accompanies Charlotte Flair to the ring, and if we could tell the difference.
I'm gonna move on from that one. The main event of tonight's, not even tonight's, of this afternoon show, was for the NXT Championship. You had the champion Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans. I thought this match just it delivered. It started off hot. Like Javon was out there just going nuts, and this was his second main event with NXT.
Bouncing. He's bouncy.
Yeah, he's not even 21 yet. He's not even legally old to drink, and he's already in main events.
He's practically Gumby. He's so bouncy.
I do like Javon Evans. I mean, he's a guy who, RJ said it best, Justin said it best, is that he just, whenever he talks, he just sounds natural. Like, he doesn't sound like he's reading a script. They do a great job at making sure he doesn't say things that don't sound like it's coming from him. He sounds like someone we know. He sounds like someone's little brother that we know. You know what I mean? And
I don't listen to a word he says. I like Trick and Oba better than him. He's 25 pounds, and then talk to me about Javon Evans.
I mean, didn't you say last time that he was getting some muscle on him?
He's getting there. And listen, when Trick Williams first was in NXT, he was a string bean also, and look at him now.
Okay, all right. I'm just pointing that out. But um, yeah, this match really did deliver. I thought it got better because there was kind of a lull in the middle of the match where it kind of slowed down a little bit, and then it started to pick up in like the last 5 to 7 minutes, and it gave you that indication of like, holy shit, are they gonna give it to Javon? Like just for a slight second. And no, I mean no, they didn't do that. And there was some good stuff, towards the end where like Javon goes for a pin and then Oba grabs him by his throat. Um, there was also, again, there was a spot with a table. A lot of table stuff tonight. There was a spot with Ricky where it looked like he hurt his knee, which that looked kind of gnarly. There was also the spot with Hank or Tank, one of the two, where they go for a dive and they just kind of land flat on the table and it didn't break.
It was Hank, and he does a tope suicida, and there's like nobody's even near him.
It was kind of funny.
I mean, I don't know if that was supposed to be on purpose or what. I mean, the reactions of Fraxia made it seem like it was on purpose. But that was pretty funny. And since I like to laugh at Hank, I was laughing at Hank.
And I believe it was Trick that put Oba through the table. Was that what happened?
Oh, yeah, the whole table collapsed, which is great. We haven't seen that in a while because they've got these like metal tables, these solid like Battlestar Galactica tables on the main roster now. So we haven't had a whole table collapse in a while. So that was pretty cool.
But this match was awesome. I thought all three guys had really good chemistry. Multi-man matches, multi-women matches, can either be really good or really sloppy. In this case, matter of fact, for today in general, the multi-person matches, they all delivered because everyone had good chemistry. The women, the four-way, everyone, I thought all the women in there were great. And I thought this triple threat match was really great. Oba is Oba. Oba's going to make money when he gets to the main roster. If he doesn't, that'll be a crime. Trick is Trick. I think after this, Trick is going to do the job for Javon before he goes to the main roster. And then, they obviously do love Javon a lot. The fans seem to love him a lot. But I'm an Oba guy. At the end of the day, I'm all for Oba, King Oba, just dominating. And he got the win after powerbombing. He powerbombed Trick onto Javon, and then did his powerbomb, which was a Batista bomb essentially, to Javon, got the win, and still your champion, Oba Femi. But
still the ruler.
Still the ruler of all you see.
Who ranks higher, the ruler or the tribal chief? I mean, I would think a ruler is sort of above a tribal chief.
Well, yeah, a tribal chief just seems like it's maybe more like one entity, essentially.
Yeah.
Whereas a ruler is a ruler.
I think so.
I mean, it's like Doctor Doom only runs Latveria, whereas who's another good example? Thanos, is the ruler of the world with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, but Black Panther only Wakanda, but Namor only Atlantis, but Odin, the nine realms. That's real power, and what a Mephisto, like all of the underworld.
Exactly. But that was
the match, right?
Go ahead.
I thought that Javon was a little bit floppy and a little bit sloppy, but it works for him because he's so long and lanky that I think his character is almost meant to be like sort of not precise. So it sort of works. I don't think it's covering for him. I think it's part of what he's doing. But when he is precise, he gets it. He is precise. I'm just not sure if he's controls it all the time or he gets lucky somewhere. But anyway, he's in NXT, and we'll see him develop, and we'll figure that out. And like I said, he's got to put on some weight so that he looks believable, and we'll see if he can keep staying flying while he's and that mobile as he puts on weight. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for Javon. Oba retaining. I don't know what happens with Trick now. I mean, yeah, imagine he's going to be really pissed off about something. Um, you keep saying they go to the main roster, and that does seem to be the natural. But I don't know. There's a lot of people not doing much on the main roster, so I don't know. Maybe they make tag teams and actually like pretend that tag team wrestling matters. So that would be all right.
I mean, they do need more tag teams. I mean, because that's what I was mentioning about Fraxium. Like, Fraxium can go to the main roster and really help, really, put on good matches. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people on the main roster, minus a Tiffany Stratton or Braun Breaker, aren't doing that well.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with getting everybody involved and having long-term stories and in-depth stories, and I think this is for both of the major promotions, is there's a pay-per-view / PLE every month. So you have 4 weeks to build a show. So unless you have unless you're planning to do a trilogy with everything, it's sort of hard to build up these things. And now we're getting all these tournaments and fatal 6-ways for number one contenderships and stuff like that. And it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you have contenders that are being built up, but it's sort of the nature of the beast where these companies need to deliver to get that to get Peacock and Netflix and whomever else bidding for the WWE network, or what was the WWE network. WBD presumably is going to get a large piece, if not all, of the pay-per-view money at some point for AEW. Otherwise, that TV deal makes 0 sense. So this is our lives from now on. So, and both companies seem to want to have like 200 wrestlers on their rosters. I don't know. I don't know how you mix it up. It's tough. It's tough to give everybody stories, and you do need to have more blood feuds like this Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest thing that isn't directly tied to a title, or even the triple threat that's a main event tonight. That doesn't involve a title, and at least they're trying, but it seems like it's top of the card. They're not doing that at the bottom of the card.
Right. Yeah, it does kind of worry me a little bit with like Aleister Black coming back and then Rusev coming back. Where it's like, okay, I'm happy they're coming back, but what are you gonna do with them? Like you look at NXT, right? You look at NXT, like Shawn Michaels is doing a great job at booking everybody, and especially now that you have more men, because there was a point where the men's division, the men's main event scene was kind of Now it looks like it's picking up some steam. Where you look at the main roster, and it's like. Yeah, like Triple H. Yeah, the Triple H era is better than the Vince era, but it's not perfect at all. Like there's some problems, and a lot of it has to do with how you book everybody, especially some of the women,
and also the pressure to make everything bigger than the last thing, and sell tickets at these crazy prices. That's partly influenced by Ticketmaster and all that, but. This is the world that we live in now. I mean, it's wrestling has been completely advertised. I always worry about bubbles and when they're going to burst, and you never see that they're going to burst until they burst, and it's sort of a tautology, but I don't know. I guess that's their job. That's their job to take care of it and do things for the shareholders and and for us. But yeah, it is tough. But the one thing I did like about the Vince Russo era is that he wrote stories for everybody.
Right.
Even if you didn't see them, even if some of them stunk, that everybody had a story. And I thought that Triple H was doing that for a while, and I don't know. He seems to have sort of lost track of himself.
Why do you think that is, if in your opinion?
I think that's because he's main PR guy or WWE corporate, and so him and Cody are sort of like Cody's the talent corporate guy, and Triple H, and part of it might be because he likes the spotlight, he sort of misses it, so he wants what he can take, and. And I think he likes to schmooze around with Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel and those folks. high power stuff. It's sort of intoxicating, and that they feel like the formatting of WWE television is so much filler and so much promotion and so much in-show sponsorship. I mean, it is so corporatized. Now we've got sponsors on the ring, which, by the way, doesn't offend me. I don't mind that at all. I mean, NASCAR is ridiculous, and we get over that. But I just don't think that he feels like there's time for that, and I think he's just said, I have to do a PLE every month. Sometimes I have to do more than one because Saudi is now getting 3 shows a year. And I think their answer to getting more people involved is having more of these 2-night PLEs. Probably the big 4 are going to be 2-night events, and that's the answer. I don't think the answer is, I'm going to write better stories for Otis, or, right. or I've got big plans for Ethan Page, or the Creeds. It's just like, we'll get around to you. Right now it's the New Day, and the Vikings. In 8 months, it'll be you guys, the Creeds, and, you won't see the Vikings anywhere, or they'll be losing to everybody. So, I just think that it is what it is, and if they wanted to do a show for everybody, they'd have 17 more shows. And they've got Evolve for the Evolve cast, which has some of the NXT. You have LFG. You got shows everywhere. They've got the Speed title. I guess technically Sol Ruca is Sol 2 belts. She's Dos Sol now. Mm-hmm. She's both Atum and Ra. I don't know. I'm not sure it's something that's fixable without having way too much wrestling on, and there's already way too much wrestling on. I'm not sure that it's like you have 50 companies. Well, you're probably like 6 or 7 main companies, basically fighting for the same 4 or 5 million fans worldwide.
Right. I mean, I look at this WrestleMania card, and it's like there seems to be a lot of matches on this card that just seems like, oh, we want to have it on here because reasons. You know what I mean? It's like you have Chelsea Green, who's like worked her ass off and is, one of the most over, people on the product, and she's not even on the card. It's like, how is that possible?
And she's got 2 hench people, and you don't even have them like influencing her wins. She's still losing matches. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, when you had Big Bubba Rogers on the outside and Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express won their matches by cheating. I mean, that's what hench people are for. They help you win and protect the good guy. I mean, it's just weird. It's just a weird dynamic to me, and I felt early on that Triple H is much better than Vince's. He does share some of the worst tendencies of both Vince and Tony Khan, which, I guess is sort of the 2 extremes of wrestling without getting into, CZW or death matches or whatever. I don't know. I don't know that there is an actual happy medium. And the companies that probably are trying to do a happy medium, they're either so far behind or don't have the budget for it to get the attention. Anyway, my solution is easy. I don't watch Raw. I just don't watch it, and I haven't watched AEW in 54 weeks. So, well, that's how I still can enjoy that.
Unfortunately, I still have to watch the pay-per-views because, I watched the last one and it was just, diarrhea. But anyways,
that's why I retired from doing the wrestling podcast. It wasn't fun for me watching all that wrestling any longer. And I watch MLW, but that's like once a month for 2 hours. I watch NWA, but that's 45 minutes. And in that 45 minutes is the commercials, and you can easily hit the plus 15 seconds. So I get enough. It's all there, and. And then I got my other fix with the show I do with Thomas, and when talking to people in wrestling, and that to me is more interesting than watching it. But what can I tell you?
Fair enough. See, we already gave our grades earlier in the show. What was your favorite match?
A+++.
Favorite match?
What was my favorite match? Wow, I really, really, really liked the women's tag team match that was on the pre-show of all things. If I wasn't so biased against both teams, The men's tag team match was super, but like sizes, so I can't love Fraxium, and I thought Hank and Tank basically as a joke until this match. But that was really good. But yeah, the Fatal 4-Way tag team match I thought was just terrific.
Ah, man. I really did like the tag team match on the pre-show. Like that was surprisingly very good. I like the main event. I thought the main event really delivered on the show. Pun
You don't
intended.
need to explain. I mean, I think you can make a case for every single match on the card. I mean, if you told me that the D'Angelo family versus Dark State was your favorite match, I'd have to wonder why. Hey, Osiris Griffin followed me back, when he only had 200 followers. I'd be like, okay, you like Osiris Griffin, cool.
And just anything with Stephanie Vakor is always an A+. So
This show gets an A++ for me. This, like I said, I give it an 11 out of 10.
I might have to agree with you on that. But that is our NXT Stand to Deliver post-show review. I see Mish in the chat room. He says pre-show started.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I got the pre-show on for WrestleMania. It started a little early. WrestleMania is going to start at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Another reason you don't need to watch Raw or SmackDown really is you just watch the pre-shows before the monthly PLEs. There's 2 hours of pre-show. You'll get everything that's important that happened in the last month on TV.
And if you have a VPN and you just switch it to London or Canada, on Netflix you get everything. The one advantage it has over Peacock is you get everything right then and there. You don't have to wait a week or a month to get new episodes. You can just get it as soon as it ends. You can also rewind mid-show if you missed anything. So
But Boston, New York, Paris, Munich, everybody's talking about pop music.
That was anyways, that is the show, people. I mean, we still have Peacock for different reasons, but that is the show, people. I want to thank Mr. Littman for joining me on these NXT review shows. It's delightful, as he usually puts it.
Love NXT.
I love NXT shows. I love NXT too. It's the best wrestling show on television. But yeah, people, you can find the show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time on YouTube, live on YouTube. Also here in the Wrestling Soup Discord. You can find the show anywhere that podcasts are distributed, such as Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, and also the YouTube channel. So make sure you hit subscribe if you like what you hear, and hit the like button and leave a comment, whatever it is you want to leave. It'll be much appreciated. And DY Experience, Twitter, Instagram, and all that bullshit. What about you, Mr. Littman? Where can the people find you?
You can find me on the X at dose_evil. I do have a poll up, and I got a little tiff with Akira about if somebody would know this particular Japanese wrestler, because he was proposing then to be the person to face Randy Orton. And, in my typical charming way, I said, I think they'd rather have someone that the 55,000 people would know. And he's like, people know him. So I put up a poll, and last I checked, it was dangerously close to 50-50. But be answer honest. If you've heard of the guy, say yes. If you haven't, say no. But answer that poll. My podcasts are called The Garden of Thought. There's generally 2 to 3 shows a week. One is sort of like if you turned on the History Channel or the Discovery Channel sort of at 7 p.m. and left it on until 3 or 4 in the morning, that kind of landscape. The one that's typically midweek is more like a magazine show. I booked actually 3 shows in the last today actually for the midweek show probably, and one is with a former DEA agent, one is with a former nuclear submariner, and one is with a legal courtesan. So a lot of variety there. And then of course there's the Gospel of Thomas, which was the Book of Black, maybe again at some point. But me and Mr. Thomas from MLW Wrestling, we talk to people in and around wrestling, generally about non-wrestling stuff, sometimes Garden of Doom stuff, sometimes just nonsense, sometimes wrestling too. It's and every now and then we get a scoop, like we knew that Hammerstone was going to be at MLW Battle Riot, before others did. And so, fun stuff like that. And then the other shows I do are on Wrestling Soup and Friends, the new follow that you can do. And the SmackDown review show is on that, and I'm generally on that. The Evolve review show is on that, and I do that with White Chocolate. And I love that song. It's just crazy. And I do this with you, and occasionally I review MLW shows with Marie Shadows, and I may be having a Let's Get Shaza McKenzie Married show called Booking for Love. Still trying to develop it, but we're supposed to pick that back up again after WrestleMania week. So I've always got projects, people. I always have projects. Some of them materialize. Some of them are actually good. But I appreciate your support, even if you just subscribe and don't listen to the shows. But listen, I think, especially the wrestling show with Thomas and PJ, I don't think you're going to get that kind of content other wrestling podcasts. I mean, you can listen to Chris Van Vliet for wrestling interviews, but if you want to hear from a person and sort of get under the hood a little bit more, we have more natural conversations, I think. Anyway, Garden thought everything's on the Wrestling Soup Network, so just subscribe there, and everybody wins.
You're more handsome than Chris Van Fleet.
That is absolutely not true, but thank you. Chris Van Fleet is much more handsome than me. Listen, I'm a 56-year-old man. I know where I fit in the. I've been comfortable with myself for a very long time here. Nobody's confusing me with George Clooney anytime soon.
Hey, you never know. I mean, anyways, I'll just leave it at that.
Kevin James.
Kevin
James every now and then.
There's a lot of women that find Kevin James hot, surprisingly.
Yeah, there's a lot of women who found me hot, surprisingly.
Well, I mean, as they should, because you're hot.
There you go, exactly right.
All right, people, we are done. And, Spinebuster Tees in Wonderland Mall, San Antonio. If you live in the area, come by. And if you're a wrestling fan, Justin will hook you up. He's got shirts, Funko Pops, action figures, everything. You name it. And if you can't make the trip, go to SpinebusterTees.com and you get the same shit. All right, people, we are done. And enjoy WrestleMania. And me and Justin will see you back here on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central Time. Peace out.
Hey, my friends.